Hi friends, so we are back again to continue with our lesson about the climate, and we were studying about the different seasons that we experience in our country. And today we have the fourth season, that is the retreating monsoon. So we said about the winter season, the hot summer season, and the raining season, and now the fourth one is the retreating monsoon. So first we said the arrival of the monsoon, then now afterwards the monsoon wind is retreating or going back. That is the time we experience another season in our country. So that is what we are going to see today. You can take page number 35 in your textbook. 35. The retreating monsoon. So during October, November, with apparent movement of the sun towards the south. So we said the apparent movement of the sun, it is affecting the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere. So because of this apparent movement of the sun, what happens? The monsoon trough or the low pressure trough over the northern plains becomes weaker. So we said the northern plain, there is a low pressure area is there. That's why the monsoon winds are attracted to that northern plain, because that area is having low pressure. Now that low pressure is becoming weaker and weaker because of the apparent movement of the sun. So what will happen? If that place the low pressure is becoming weak, means it is becoming hotter and hotter, or the pressure is increasing. Low pressure is becoming high pressure, and so from there wind has to move out. If it is continuing to remain as a low pressure area, always the wind will come inside. So now because of the apparent movement of the sun, the low pressure is becoming weaker and weaker, and it is turning out to be high pressure. And this is gradually replaced by a high pressure system. So low pressure system is replaced by a high pressure system. And the southwest monsoon winds weaken and start withdrawing gradually. So the place becomes, or the area becomes, a high pressure area. Therefore the monsoon wind that was blowing to North India is becoming weaker and weaker. Then they will start returning back. They will start blowing back or retreating. And by the beginning of October, the monsoon withdraws from the northern plains. So by the time October starts, the wind is moving out from the northern plains. It will be already out of this northern plain. It is because the pressure has turned, low pressure has turned to be a high pressure. Then the months of October, November form a period of transition from hot rainy season to dry winter condition. So this time, that is October and November, when these monsoon winds are withdrawing or retreating, that is a time of transition. Transition means change. It's a time of change. So long it was hot and rainy season. Now suddenly there is a change. There is a shift is there. What is the shift? So it is changed into dry winter conditions. So from rainy, hot situation, it is changing to cold and dry. In the winter it is very cold, and since there is no rain, it is very dry. So before, 2 months before, it was just the opposite. It was very hot and very rainy. Now after 2 months, it will become very cold and very dry. Just the opposite. So that change has taken place during these 2 months. And the retreat of the monsoon is marked by clear signs and rise in the temperature. So at the time of the retreat of this monsoon wind, the temperature also is changing, the climate also is changing, the sky becomes very clear. So before, during the monsoon season or rainy season, the sky was always cloudy, anytime it can rain. But now the sky becomes very clear and the temperature is slowly rising. So that is during the day. The winter also, during the day, temperature will be quite high. While day temperatures are high, nights are cool and pleasant. So during the day we experience a heat, but at the same time during the night, when the night comes, it will be very cool and very pleasant. Then the land is still moist, so a lot of moisture is there in the land. Early morning when you look, we can see the land is wet because of the dew fall. Then owing to the conditions of high temperature and humidity, the weather becomes rather oppressive during the day. So because of the high temperature that we experience during the day and also the humidity that is there in the air, during the day the weather is not very pleasant. It is very oppressive. It is very hard weather, because there is no rain, the temperature is quite high and it is humidity. When there is humidity in the air, what happens? You start perspiring, you will be sweating. So it is not very pleasant thing. Always you will be sweating, your dress will be wet, you cannot do any work, your body will be sweating and so on. So that is the problem. It is because a lot of humidity is there in the air. But when the night comes, by evening it becomes cool again. You start putting on the jacket and other winter clothes, and at night it will be very pleasant to sleep and so on. And this is commonly known as October heat. So the heat or the unpleasant weather that we experience during the month of October, it is known as October heat. So during the month of October, the heat that we experience. Then the second half of October, so that means after 15, the rest of the days, that means third week and fourth week of October, the mercury begins to fall rapidly in northern India. So second week of October onwards, or after the second week of October onwards, the mercury starts falling. That means temperature is falling. So till October half, we were experiencing very hot climate. During the day, we are experiencing very hot climate. But now second half of the October, the temperature suddenly falls down and we experience a little bit of cold air. Then the low pressure conditions over northwestern India. So if you go to the northwestern India at this time, that conditions, the low pressure condition that was existing there, that is getting transferred to the Bay of Bengal by early November. So the low pressure area is removed and it becomes a high pressure area. And where does this low pressure move? So now the low pressure is created in the Bay of Bengal. Bay of Bengal becomes low pressure area. And this shift is associated with occurrence of cyclonic depressions which originate over the Andaman Sea. So when we said the low pressure that was there in the northern part of India, that is shifted to Bay of Bengal, and this low pressure that is created in the Bay of Bengal, that creates sometimes cyclones. It is making or forming a lot of cyclones, and this cyclone is generally originating in the Andaman and Nicobar side. So it is forming there, the Andaman Nicobar side, and from there it is forming and entering into the mainland through this Bay of Bengal. So that is because of this low pressure, it is shifted from the North India to the Bay of Bengal, and from there the cyclone is formed and it is entering into India. These cyclones generally cross the eastern coast of India and cause heavy and widespread rain. So when there is cyclone formation is there in the Bay of Bengal, it is entering into India through our eastern side, that is through West Bengal side. It is entering into India, and these cyclones, it is very strong wind, heavy wind and storm is there, and it is creating widespread damage to the cultivation, to the standing crops and so on. So it is a great threat to the farmers. A lot of farm products are lost, their houses are destroyed and so on. So a lot of problem takes place because of these cyclones. And these tropical cyclones are often very destructive. The thickly populated deltas of the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri are frequently struck by cyclones, which cause great damage to the land, to the life and to the property. So we said the cyclone that is formed in the Andaman area and entering into India through eastern side, it is causing widespread damage to the people, especially in the area, in the plains of these three rivers, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. So it is a delta formed by these rivers, and that area, delta area, is extensively cultivated by the farmers, and it is at that time this cyclone comes and the standing crops that are destroyed because of this cyclone. So it is a great threat to the farmers, especially in the area of these deltas of these three rivers, Krishna, Kaveri and Godavari. Then sometimes these cyclones arrive at the coast of Orissa. So sometimes these cyclones are coming to the coast of Orissa also, West Bengal and Bangladesh, also to Bangladesh and West Bengal. So these three areas, two Indian states like Orissa and West Bengal, and also the West Bengal, they are also affected sometimes. And the bulk of the rainfall of the Coromandel coast is derived from the depressions and the cyclones. So quite many or quite a good number of rain or large amount of rain is falling. You will see in the map also. So we see the Coromandel coast. Coromandel coast is here in the eastern side of India. This is Coromandel coast. So these areas, they receive rainfall very often from the cyclones that are originating in Andaman and Nicobar Island side. So the cyclones are originating here, and sometimes it is crossing over and it is going to Odisha coast. Odisha is somewhere here. Then it is also affecting the West Bengal, and also it is affecting the Bangladesh. So the winds are so strong, and we say most of the rivers that most of the rain that this area, the Coromandel coast, receive is from where? It is due to these cyclones that are taking place there. So that is the a short season of the withdrawal of monsoon. So it is the beginning, it is very hot and temperature is high, a lot of humidity is there, and then it is also very pleasant during the night, and people do a lot of cultivations, and at the same time the low pressure that is formed in the northern part of India is shifting to the Bay of Bengal, and the low pressure area is formed here now. Here the low pressure is changed into high pressure, and so the low pressure is moved to this side, and that is causing the cyclones, and that is affecting the farmers very much, especially the farmers who are in this region, who are cultivating at the deltas of Kaveri, Krishna and Godavari, and lot of standing crops are destroyed by the cyclones, and the life is lost sometimes, the property is lost, the houses are lost, animals are lost, lot of loss is happening during this time of retreating of monsoon because of the creation of the cyclone and so on. And so we also said most of the rain that this Coromandel coast receives is due to this the effects of the cyclone. So that is about the retreating monsoon. Now in your textbook you will find a little bit of general knowledge. Do you know? You can see here, it is given here. So it is about the caves that are found in Mawsynram. I hope you remember the importance of the place Mawsynram. That is a place which receives the highest rainfall in the world. Mawsynram is the place which receives highest rainfall in the world. So if you go to this Mawsynram, you will find the wettest place on the earth, and it is reputed for its Salgamite and stalactite caves. So if you go there, you will find different caves, and these are minerals. Stalgamite and stalactite, they are minerals, and if you enter into some caves, you will find slowly water is dripping down, and sometimes as it is dripping down, it becomes hard and remaining hanging there from the roof of the cave. It is hanging there. So it is all different types of minerals. So that area is Mawsynram is very rich for minerals. So when you get time, visit Shillong, visit some of these caves and experience by yourself. So the knowledge that you gain by visiting the places, by gaining first-hand knowledge, that will remain always in your mind, and that will help you to understand different locations in India, different things that is going on around India and so on. So for today we shall wind up, and the next class we shall take the last part of this lesson about how the rain is distributed throughout the country, and how some places are very dry and like desert-like conditions. Some other places always experience flood-like situation and so on. So India is very vast, therefore the situation is not same everywhere. It is different from place to place because of the geographical, physical features of India. Because some areas are mountains, some areas are valleys, some areas are plain and so on. So a lot of differences are there, and accordingly the climate also is different in different parts of India. We shall see it later in the next class. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.